This week we're supposed to memorize a verse about trusting God, and I memorized Hebrews 2:13, how it says, "And again I will trust in Him, and again behold I and the children whom God has given me." Trust in God and don't be afraid. Psalm 118, verse 8. It is good to trust in the Lord rather than to trust in man.
Those who put their trust in the Lord shall rejoice, and let them shout for joy forever, because He defends them. And let those who love His name be joyful in His name.
We're supposed to think of a time that we or somebody that we know had to trust in God. And I thought about one time we were at the border in Mexico, and Daddy and another brother were out preaching on the street, and a man came and threatened that they could be taken by the drug cartel if they would get out of there fast. So they had to just trust in the Lord.
When my parents, I guess me too, left Utah, it was hard for them to leave their friends and everybody just to come down here.
When my older brothers left, our family had to just trust God because they left, and then we hoped that they'd come back someday, but we just got to trust God with it.
One time we were traveling with Wilbur's in Mexico, and we were going to take a shortcut, and someone told us that we could go off the road where they were constructing a big road, and we got further and further off the road, and then finally when we were like way down on the construction site and there's dirt everywhere and stuff, then there wasn't really any road there. A man told us that you could make a shortcut that way, so we just had to trust in God and go all the way back.
One time there was a really bad storm with a tornado about 3 miles away from our house. And so we got in the car, and it was like midnight, to go to the Pierce City storm shelter, and it was hailing. And then it got so thick that we couldn't see anywhere, and we could only drive just barely inching along. We could only see the road about a foot ahead of us. And then all of a sudden there was a light in front of us, and we saw that it was our neighbor's house. And so we pulled up there, and they said we could come in, and we stayed in their house till the storm was over. We had to trust God through that He would take care of us.
I thought of the Apostle Peter in Acts 12, where he was arrested, and he was going to be brought before the people the next day, but the brothers were praying for him, and then the angel delivered him just the very night before he would have been taken out in front of the people. So
I can think of several times where my mom chose to trust in God, but one time specifically is whenever she separated from Bobby, and she had no clue what was going to happen, but that's how we came here.
I thought about Uncle David. When he first started following God, he gave up everything he had, all his friends, instead to follow God. He just had to trust God that it all worked out, and it did.
Some of you probably know, but a while back, Granddad went through a deal that he couldn't really, when he'd stand up, he'd get really shaky and had to go to the emergency room, and he was in there for like 3 or 4 days, I think, and he got really, we just had to trust God that he was going to get better. We didn't know what was going on until later they told us that he was going to be okay.
Yesterday we were talking about the phrase, "a day late and a dollar short," and we were just talking about how some people say that, and And then Marcus brought out how people say that because they're complaining about their circumstances and they're really not, they don't have it that bad off. And then he mentioned Jacob, and automatically I was thinking, okay, some guy named Jacob. But then Marcus was talking about Jacob, Israel in the Bible, and he was talking about how, for one, he lost his son and thought that his son was devoured by animals or something, and then his son was in Egypt when he was grown, was testing him during the famine, testing Jacob and his family, and they were in danger of starving, and this is how dire those circumstances were. And I just thought, how wow, that was a very grim situation. But Jacob, he made it through that, trusting the Lord.
A few years ago, whenever the church split, it was kind of a confusing time for me, I guess. I didn't really know. It was kind of hard and rough, and just didn't really know what was right at the time. Just had to trust God, and glad He kept me here. I was thinking that anytime something happens, and any of the brothers here, they always just say, "Praise the Lord." They don't worry about it. They just trust, and they don't get all worked up about it. And it's always kind of neat, no matter what comes up, just praise the Lord.
For next Sunday, boys, your assignment there would be to think of a time when you or your parents, someone in your family, helped someone that was needy, were generous, or unselfish, and denied yourself and gave yourself